All right, archery season is almost here. Hopefully you're out shooting your bow, getting everything ready. In this video, I'm going to tell you 7 things that I do with my bow and my equipment, and 7 extra things that I bring to be prepared for bow season. All right, starting with number 1. You want to make sure your bow is tuned. You want to take it to a professional. You want to make sure that everything's level and shooting how it needs to be. Fortunately, I have my dad. He's able to get this thing dialed, leveled out. We paper tuned it, we bare shaft tuned it, it is set and it's ready to go. Number 2, you want to make sure your string is in good condition. You get it cleaned, you get it waxed, you take good care of it. This string is about a month old. The last time I had, I guess I've had the string since 2019 and just recently replaced it. But the stuff that I use to clean it is the Scorpion Venom. I use the string cleaner and then I use the wax. It has a nice little leather patch in there, easy to apply the wax to the string. You want to keep that thing nice and clean and waxed up so it's in good condition to last a long time. Number 3, you want to make sure all the hardware is nice and set. That means you want to make sure it's tight, it's not loose. It means all the screws in the cams, sight and the rest, all that kind of stuff. When you're hunting, you're traveling in the back of the truck, the bow is going to be, even if it's in the case, it's going to get jarred around. I personally will have the bow on my backpack, going up the mountain, up a really bumpy road, strapped to the back, and it's getting moved around and jarred quite a bit. So you want to make sure all that is nice and tight. Number 4, you want to spin your broadheads. So once you get your broadheads, you want to spin them and find the most truest spinning broadhead and put that as your number 1, and then number 2, number 3, and so on. You want to make sure that you keep your practice broadheads and your shooting broadheads, like hunting broadheads I should say, separate. If you have to use a practice broadhead as a backup, if you've gone through your good ones, then you have to, but ultimately you want to keep as many fresh ones as you can, so bring extra, which I will be covering a little bit later. Number 5, for me, I want to remove the sidebar. You might call me a wimp, but I don't want the extra weight. I'm a Western big game hunter, so I'm packing this bow up and down the mountain in my arm, getting tired. I don't want it on my pack when I'm actively hunting. I want it ready to hunt and shoot with. So it's going to be in my hand. So I like to take the sidebar off. And when you do that, you want to shoot with your hunting setup. Practice leading up to that. So taking off the sidebar and then also shooting with a full quiver of arrows. If that's your setup for hunting season, that's what you want to shoot with, so you're nice and comfortable when it's time to go out and do it. Number 6, I like to wax the threads on the broadheads. So this is a field point, but just those threads up there, if you put a little bit of wax on them, they kind of secure a little bit better. They're not going to move around and rattle. And when you're taking out the arrow, if you're in close range to an animal, it could rattle, could make extra noise. So putting a little bit of wax on there helps it be quieter, which leads me to number 7, which is to silence the bow. You want to make this thing as quiet as possible. And something that I don't think a lot of people do is use this soft camo stuff to put felt and this soft, I'm not even sure exactly what it's called, but you put it on there to make it so when the arrow hits the different parts of the bow, it's quiet. So right now I have it on the riser, and you can hear just hitting the top part right there. I need some more of the stuff. I have some old stuff, but it's wore through. When I'm hitting the riser, very hard to hear versus hitting the front of the sight. I'm going to hit up here and listen to how loud this is. So if you're in close range to an animal, you weren't ready for it, and you got to knock an arrow, and you hit that animal is gone. So my next step here is to take off the old muff stuff and then put new anywhere this arrow is going to touch, so it's nice and quiet. You also want to do this on the quiver. You're busting through brush or you're sneaking through brush, the quieter the better. So this is the 7 things I do for my bow and my equipment to prepare for bow season. The 7 extra things that I bring, let's start with Rangefinder here. So you want to have an extra rangefinder or an extra battery, something around those lines. Last year my Bushnell finally died. Had it since I was in high school, and it died when I was sitting on a water hole. And luckily I had my backup in the truck and switched it out. It would have been better if I had a battery to swap out, just because this will give me an angle, but the Bushnell will give me the angle compensation for archery shooting. So that's better for my situation, but I had to resort to what I had as a backup. Another extra / backup is going to be an extra release. So I got 2 releases. They both are the same length, nice and short, and I keep it in my backpack if I'm doing backcountry, and I keep it in the truck if I'm not. Sorry, I got this extra wind muff here. It's just up here. Number, I think that's 3, would be the tools, different things you need to take care of your bow. So Allen wrench, you want to have extra screws for anything that might come loose and fall out, anything for the sight. If you know how to do a D-loop, you want to have D-loop, any of that kind of stuff for minor repairs that you might need on the mountain. Number 5, I like to carry the arrow tube if I'm going like on any hunt, and just if I'm doing hunting from the truck, it's going to go in the truck. If I'm hiking on my with camp on my back, it's going to go with me to base camp up on the mountain. We've done it a number of times where we've taken arrows up there. It doesn't take much to fall and land on your arrows and break them. If that happens, you're 5-6 miles from your truck. Like, it's not good. So I like to take extra if I'm heading up there. Number 6, I want to take an extra sight tape that's printed out and ready to go, and some kind of tape or adhesive that I can put it on there if something happens to my sight tape. If something happens to that, like, I can't do much with the bow. So have a backup. A lot of times I'll actually keep one inside my wallet. I don't really have tape to put on there other than electrical tape, so it's not the best, but I do have something printed out. I should probably carry some kind of glue in my kill kit or something to have it as backup. And number 7 is a target. So you want to have a target to re-verify that everything's still shooting good after your travels, after the bumpy 4-wheeler ride, after traveling at different elevations. For example, I'm here in Vegas. It's like 2,500 feet or 22, somewhere around there. But I'll go and hunt at 9,000 or 10,000 feet. And so the air pressure, everything's going to be a little different at that elevation. My bow is going to be shooting slightly different, potentially. So you want to, when you get up there, get to camp, shoot your bow. If you get jostled on different things, you want to shoot your bow and just stay fresh. You want to make sure everything is still shooting good. If you're out there for a week and you don't shoot the whole time, that's a week without shooting. So take a target. It's worth the space that it takes in the back of your truck. All right, 2 bonus tips. I would say number 1, also document where your micro adjusts are on your rest. If you can document where your sight is adjusted to, left and right, that would be good as well. Just so if anything gets bumped or tweaked, you don't have to go and like re-sight everything back in. So in this case, I have little tick marks where my micro adjust is here and up here. On the side, I really don't have that. Some people will take a silver Sharpie and mark where it's supposed to be. I don't want to do that because if I change other things with my bow down the road, I'm always going to have that Sharpie mark. So I just take a picture of where it's at as my backup. And my final tip / strategy is you want to be confident going out to the mountains for hunting season, and you want to know that your bow is shooting well. So as you're getting that final couple weeks of shooting your bow, broadheads, everything's getting dialed. If you make good groups, document it. So when you make bad groups, you can say, hey, that was a bad shot. My bow still shoots good. Here's my evidence. Look at my phone. So if I'm taking a 40-yard shot and it's a good group, I'll put my fingers out 4 and take a picture with the bow and the group right, or the target and the group right there, 50 or 60, and I will just document it. So I know, all right, at 60 yards, these broadheads are on. I might be shooting like crap one day and I can't hit 60 in a good group, and I can just say, you know what, I did it 2 days ago, the bow's on, let me come back a couple more days and try again. The other part of it is end on a high note. A lot of times we shoot, it's great, it's fun, and we start falling apart as we get tired. We're not holding good enough. We're trying to like bring it up and shoot. You don't want to do that. You want to leave the shooting range feeling good, more confident every time. So stretch yourself, push yourself to when you start getting tired, but don't overdo it. As you know, like, okay, that's about it. I call it quits and I end it on a good note. If the bow is shooting good, I'm shooting good, let's walk away and move forward. So that's my 7 tips for what I do on this, and my 7 extras and a couple bonus tips. Hopefully that helps you on your next bow hunt. Hopefully you get that shot you need, and hopefully you can make it count. Good luck. Later.
See him?
Yeah. Good job, man. Good job.
Grab your arrow. Grab your arrow.
Sorry. Load one up. You think he's dead?
Yeah, load one up anyways.